Well, you know, our actual reality is that we're dealing with so many news stories at a time. We've got stories happening, breaking all the time. We've got inboxes that are screaming because they're so full. So in terms of brand awareness, if someone wants their brand or some kind of news story that they think, they've got to communicate in a way with us that makes the story relevant to us to even click onto. You know, often journalists love to press that delete button if the angle is buried, or they'll get a press release but they're not quite sure what it means or what it's about, and the angle's not there, they're not talking about what they want. We live by the 5 W's and the H, and that is really what we want. It's the what, where, when, why, who and how. If your statement can capture all of those, then of course you're on the right track. Well, when things go wrong, I always think the worst way of tackling it is to try to shut down all communication, try to prevent news from getting out. It's just not going to happen. Technology today is so advanced. Everybody has got a cell phone with a camera or a cell phone with a video, or everyone has a Twitter handle that they can tweet on. So trying to censor the flow of information is never a good idea. You know, when that Woolworths Frankie story first broke, it broke on Talk Radio 702 and 567. Frankie's, the man who produced Frankie's, went onto the Money Show and told his story. Woolworths was not immediately available for comment, and that in itself can be very dangerous, because then the conversation takes place without you for a long time. You've got no control over it, you don't know what people are saying. So I think it's very important just to move swiftly with any kind of crisis management, particularly from a media perspective, because as journalists we want to get right of reply. We'll approach people for right of reply. If they're not giving us right of reply, ultimately we'll say so-and-so was unavailable for comment, so-and-so didn't respond to emails, and that will end up being the narrative around your brand. You know, often we'll find that a story is unfolding, but there is a behind-the-scenes story that's also unfolding. So if there is a conflict, if there is an organization that is at war with itself, sometimes these will be exposed during times of press conferences or crises, and ultimately that ends up becoming the story, as opposed to what you've called journalists to your building to do the story on. Just in terms of a crisis management like KFC has recently been through in South Africa, in their Bromfontein store, I think it's very important to communicate with the media. If you do need to investigate, you need to say so, and you need to say we're currently investigating. You can't say that forever. We need to be reasonable about how long you say an investigation is taking place. But at some point you need to issue some kind of statement that says what has happened here is not in line with our values, or we're investigating and the outcome will be released to the media shortly. But you do need to speak. You can't go quiet. You can't shut down.